What if the secret to cutting your fuel costs in half had nothing to do with buying a hybrid, installing a fuel-saving gadget, or switching to a different gas station? For decades, Japanese drivers have quietly followed a set of principles so effective that their vehicles consistently achieve fuel economy numbers that leave Western drivers stunned. And the story behind how these habits developed is just as fascinating as the habits themselves. After the 1973 oil crisis, Japan found itself in a uniquely vulnerable position. The country imports nearly all of its oil. There are no domestic reserves to fall back on, no strategic buffer. When global oil prices quadrupled overnight, Japan did not panic. It adapted. The government launched one of the most aggressive fuel efficiency campaigns in automotive history. Automakers redesigned engines, urban planners rethought traffic flow, and ordinary drivers were educated in schools, in workplaces, and on public broadcasting on how to treat fuel like the strategic resource it actually is. What emerged from that crisis is a driving philosophy called eco-drive. It is now officially taught in Japanese driving schools, promoted by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism, and practiced by millions of drivers every single day. The results speak for themselves. Japan consistently ranks among the most fuel-efficient nations in the world, not because of geography or car prices, but because of behavior. Here's what makes this important for you today. None of these techniques require a new car. None require tools, modifications, or mechanical knowledge. Every single one of them can be applied the next time you turn your key. And together, they form a system that real-world drivers have used to slash their fuel costs by 30, 40, even 50%. Today, you're going to learn all of them. And at the very end, I'll reveal the one habit that single-handedly wastes more fuel than almost everything else combined. Let's get into it. Number 14. Train your eyes to see farther. The average driver watches the car directly in front of them. That's it. The moment that car brakes, they brake. The moment that car slows, they slow. This reactive style of driving is so normal that most people don't even realize they are doing it. But it is one of the most fuel-destructive habits on the road. Japanese eco-drive training starts with one fundamental shift. Extend your visual range. Look far ahead. Watch traffic signals 2 or 3 blocks away. Watch the flow of vehicles beyond the car in front of you. When you develop this habit, something remarkable happens. You start anticipating slowdowns before they reach you. You lift off the throttle earlier, coast naturally, and often arrive at the point where traffic was slowing just as it begins to move again without ever touching the brake. That preserved momentum represents real fuel that was never wasted. This one change alone can produce measurable improvements in your fuel economy within a single commute. Number 13. Smooth acceleration is not slow acceleration. There is a widespread misconception that gentle acceleration saves fuel. In reality, crawling away from a green light keeps the engine in its least efficient revolutions per minute range for a longer time and actually burns more fuel than a confident, purposeful launch. Japanese eco-driving teaches what they call smooth but decisive acceleration. When the light turns green, accelerate with intention. Get the car up to cruising speed efficiently, then ease off. The goal is to pass through the engine's inefficient low revolutions per minute range quickly, reach a stable speed, and let the engine settle into its most efficient operating zone. Think of it as sprinting to a comfortable walking pace rather than shuffling the entire distance. The fuel savings come from reducing the time spent in the engine's least efficient state. Number 12. The engine has a sweet spot. Use it. Every engine has a range of revolutions per minute where it converts fuel into motion most efficiently. Outside of that range, either too high or too low under load, fuel is being wasted. For most passenger cars, That optimal range sits roughly between 1,500 and 2,500 revolutions per minute for cruising. In manual transmission vehicles, this means shifting earlier than most drivers instinctively do. In automatic cars, it means using smooth, gradual throttle inputs, so the transmission upshifts promptly, rather than holding lower gears longer than necessary. Japanese drivers treat the tachometer as a fuel economy gauge, not just a performance indicator. When the engine is laboring too hard or spinning unnecessarily high, it is burning fuel it does not need to burn. Number 11. Coasting is not laziness, it's strategy. Modern fuel-injected engines do something that many drivers do not realize. When you lift completely off the throttle while in gear and above a certain speed, many engines enter fuel cutoff mode. The injectors stop firing entirely, and the engine uses the car's own momentum to keep running. You are literally traveling for free. Japanese drivers actively seek opportunities to coast. Approaching a downhill slope, seeing a red light ahead, reaching a highway exit, these are all coasting opportunities. Every second of momentum-driven travel with zero fuel injection is a second of fuel cost eliminated. This is not hyperbole. Studies conducted by the Japanese Automobile Research Institute confirmed that strategic coasting is one of the highest impact individual habits in the entire eco-drive system. Number 10. Tire pressure is a fuel economy control. Underinflated tires increase rolling resistance. The engine must work harder to push the car forward, and that extra work costs fuel. The effect is invisible. The car still drives, it still feels normal, but the fuel economy penalty accumulates silently every single mile. Japan's eco-driving guidelines recommend checking tire pressure weekly, always when the tires are cold, before the car has been driven. A tire that looks normal to the eye can be significantly underinflated. Keeping tires at the manufacturer's specified pressure, which is found on the sticker inside the driver's door jamb and not on the tire sidewall, reduces rolling resistance, improves handling, and delivers an immediate improvement in fuel economy. It is one of the simplest and most cost-free fuel-saving actions available to any driver. Number 9. Stop carrying a moving storage unit. Every pound your engine moves requires energy. Extra weight in the cabin or trunk does not feel significant in isolation, but the cumulative effect on fuel consumption is real and measurable. Many drivers routinely transport tools, sports equipment, cases of water, and general trunk clutter that serves no purpose on that particular trip. Japanese eco-driving culture emphasizes traveling with only what the trip requires. A 200-pound reduction in vehicle load under average driving conditions can improve fuel economy by 1 to 2%. Modest on its own, but meaningful when combined with every other technique in this system. Number 8. Roof racks and cargo carriers destroy highway efficiency. Automobile manufacturers spend enormous resources designing vehicles to cut through air with minimal resistance. A clean roofline, carefully shaped mirrors, and optimized underbody panels all contribute to a drag coefficient that was engineered for fuel efficiency. An empty roof rack sitting on top of that vehicle at 65 miles per hour can increase aerodynamic drag by 25% or more. A cargo carrier can push that figure even higher. Japanese drivers remove these accessories when they are not in use. It is not about aesthetics, it is about physics. At highway speeds, aerodynamic drag is the dominant factor in fuel consumption, and anything that disrupts the designed airflow around the vehicle is costing real money at every mile. Number 7. The air conditioning versus windows decision has a correct answer. Most drivers pick one or the other based on preference without realizing there is an objectively more efficient choice depending on speed. At low speeds, in city traffic, neighborhoods, and parking lots, the air conditioning compressor adds mechanical load to the engine. Opening the windows costs almost nothing aerodynamically because the car is not moving fast enough for open windows to significantly disrupt airflow. At low speeds, windows down is more efficient. At highway speeds, the equation reverses. Open windows create turbulence, increase drag, and force the engine to work harder to maintain speed. At speeds above approximately 50 miles per hour, the aerodynamic penalty of open windows exceeds the energy cost of running the air conditioning with the windows closed. Japanese eco-driving is explicit on this point. Windows down in the city, air conditioning on the highway. Number 6. Idling is burning fuel to go nowhere. Every minute a modern engine idles, it consumes fuel and produces 0 miles of travel. Warming up the engine by letting it idle for several minutes before driving is a habit left over from carbureted vehicles of the 1960s and the 1970s. Modern fuel-injected engines warm up faster and more efficiently by being driven gently from startup. Japanese drivers apply a simple rule. If you are stopped for more than 60 seconds with no expectation of immediate movement, shut the engine off. Drive-throughs, railway crossings, waiting for a passenger, these are all idling opportunities that silently drain the tank. The fuel consumed during a single week of unnecessary idling by the average driver represents a meaningful percentage of their total fuel cost. Number 5. Use exactly the fuel your car requires, not better, not worse. Premium gasoline does not improve performance or fuel economy in a vehicle designed for regular fuel. The difference between fuel grades is octane rating, a measure of resistance to pre-ignition knock. High compression performance engines require higher octane. Most family sedans, SUV vehicles, and trucks do not. Paying for premium in a regular fuel vehicle is not an investment. It is a waste of money with no engineering benefit. Japanese drivers follow the owner's manual specification with discipline. The correct fuel for the vehicle is exactly what the manual says, not what the fuel company's advertising suggests. Number 4. The air filter is a direct link to fuel consumption. The combustion process requires a precise mixture of air and fuel. When the AIR filter becomes clogged with dust and debris, airflow to the engine is restricted. The engine compensates by enriching the fuel mixture to maintain power output, which means more fuel burned for the same performance. A severely restricted air filter can degrade fuel economy by as much as 10% in some vehicles. Checking the air filter at every oil change and replacing it when visibly dirty is one of the cheapest, most direct fuel economy improvements available. In Japan, air filter maintenance is treated as basic hygiene for the fuel system, not an optional upgrade. Number 3. Your fuel cap is part of your fuel system. Modern vehicles use sealed evaporative emission systems to capture fuel vapors and prevent them from escaping into the atmosphere. A loose, cracked, or damaged fuel cap allows those vapors to escape, representing actual fuel loss. Beyond the direct loss of fuel, a compromised cap can trigger a check engine light related to evaporative system leaks, a fault that some drivers ignore for months while the problem persists. Always tighten the fuel cap until it clicks. Inspect the cap seal periodically for cracking or deterioration. Replacement caps are inexpensive and widely available. It is a 3-minute task with a direct fuel economy benefit. Number 2. The quarter tank rule protects your fuel system. Running consistently on near empty does not just risk running out of fuel at an inconvenient moment. The electric fuel pump inside your tank is cooled and lubricated by the fuel around it. When the tank drops too low, the pump can overheat and begin drawing air along with fuel, accelerating wear and shortening its service life significantly. The sediment that naturally accumulates at the bottom of a fuel tank is more likely to be drawn into the fuel system when the level is critically low. Maintaining at least a quarter tank at all times costs nothing in normal driving habits, protects the fuel pump, and avoids the repair costs associated with premature pump failure. Number 1. The single habit draining more fuel than you realize. Constant lane changing in heavy traffic. This is the most widespread, most normalized, and most fuel-destructive habit in modern driving. Drivers switch lanes to gain a few car lengths, accelerate into the gap, then brake when the new lane slows. The cycle repeats dozens of times on a single commute. Research conducted by Japanese traffic engineering agencies found that drivers who aggressively switch lanes in congested traffic arrive at their destination an average of only 1 to 3 minutes faster than drivers who maintain a single lane but consume significantly more fuel doing it. Every unnecessary acceleration braking cycle wastes the energy that was paid for at the pump to generate that speed. Smooth, consistent, single-lane driving preserves momentum, reduces engine load, and across a daily commute adds up to fuel savings that compound dramatically over weeks and months. When these 14 techniques are applied together, they do not simply add up. They multiply. Because fuel efficiency is a system, and every habit in the system supports the others. Long-range vision reduces braking. Smooth acceleration reaches optimal RPM faster. Coasting preserves the momentum that smooth acceleration created. Proper tire pressure reduces the load that all of that forward motion must overcome. Japanese drivers who complete formal eco-drive training routinely report fuel economy improvements of 30 to 50%, not from a single technique, but from the integrated practice of all of them. No new car, no modifications, no premium anything. Just awareness, applied consistently behind the wheel. The next time you sit down in your car, you will drive differently, and your fuel gauge will prove it.